Let's start with context. This scenario takes place inside a large, global social media platform, one that operates across dozens of countries and languages with millions of posts reviewed every hour. At the center of this environment is an AI-powered content moderation system. Its job is to automatically detect and remove harmful, misleading, or policy-violating content before it spreads. The system makes decisions at scale, faster than any human review process ever could. This system is already live. It's been in production. It's shaping what people see, what gets removed, and what stays visible, every minute of every day. What outcome does the board believe this system is accountable for? Engagement, safety, or societal trust? As part of routine security and assurance activities, the organization commissions a penetration test. The goal isn't to break into the platform, it's to pressure test the AI moderation system itself. The test focuses on how the model behaves under stress, edge cases, adversarial inputs, and unusual usage patterns. When the results come back, there's no evidence of compromise, data exfiltration, or system takeover. But something else shows up, something harder to dismiss. Do we have visibility into who this system impacts differently across regions, languages, and demographics? The findings don't look like traditional security issues. They look like behavioral patterns. Political content is being removed more aggressively than expected, and not evenly across viewpoints. Harmful content in minority languages is slipping through at higher rates. Highly sensational content is being promoted faster and wider than factual material. And image moderation flags appear to disproportionately affect certain ethnic groups. None of these findings indicate a single bug. They point to systemic risk. At what point does uneven impact become an enterprise risk rather than a product issue? At this point, the conversation shifts. This is no longer about whether the system is secure in the traditional sense. The real question becomes, what kind of harm can this system cause while functioning exactly as intended? The risk isn't just misclassification. It's erosion of trust, uneven protection across populations, and amplification of outcomes the organization never explicitly approved. This is where ethical risk becomes operational risk. Which risks are acceptable trade-offs, and which violate declared organizational values? As teams begin to respond, accountability becomes unclear. Is this an AI problem? A data problem? A policy interpretation issue? Or a governance gap between intent and execution? Each group sees part of the picture, but no single team can fully explain why the system behaves this way, end to end. Without that clarity, every mitigation feels reactive instead of deliberate. Can we explain why specific groups are affected differently, with evidence, not intent statements? The chief ethics officer steps in, not to assign blame, but to force alignment. The question on the table is simple but uncomfortable. Can the organization stand behind these outcomes and explain them to users, regulators, and internal leadership? The request isn't to shut the system down. It's to intervene in a way that preserves scale, protects users, and restores confidence. Who owns outcomes when harm emerges without system failure or malicious intrusion? As the risks are assessed side by side, one stands out: algorithmic amplification. Because amplification doesn't just reflect bias, it multiplies it. Once engagement becomes the dominant signal, the system quietly prioritizes content that provokes reaction, regardless of accuracy or social impact. Left unchecked, this behavior compounds political imbalance, visibility gaps, and trust failures faster than any single moderation error. If regulators asked for proof tomorrow, could we reconstruct decisions, constraints, and safeguards at runtime? The response focuses on where decisions are made. Instead of retraining the model immediately, the organization intervenes at the decision layer. Ranking and amplification logic are constrained by policy-based controls, not just engagement metrics. Fairness thresholds, confidence signals, and bias indicators now act as guardrails. The system can still function at scale, but it no longer optimizes blindly. Which controls reduce harm without degrading continuity of operations? This shift changes how governance works in practice. Now, when content is removed or amplified, the organization can show why. Which signals mattered? Which controls were active? What policies constrained the outcome? Evidence replaces assumption. Accountability becomes traceable instead of theoretical. Are we willing to constrain engagement optimization to preserve defensibility and trust? The system remains live. Moderation continues. Global coverage remains intact. But governance is no longer external to the technology. It's embedded into how decisions are made, monitored, and defended over time. Risk hasn't been eliminated. It's been made visible, controllable, and sustainable. What evidence must exist continuously for leadership to remain confident in this system over time?